What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting they're possibilities for you to consider, in which you can then come up with your own logical conclusions. And a very grand welcome to all the fellow decoders out there around the world, wherever you are. My name is Logan, and this is Decode Your Reality. And today we're going to be breaking down and decoding a little bit of music, but an extension of Prison Planet, the series now 1 and 2. But it's, what does this have to do with Prison Planet? Why am I bringing those together? And what was the animation in the beginning of this presentation? Here's a snapshot of it. And it was a cool rendition of kind of like a motherboard. And it kind of pulsing energy. And then I overlaid that with a cube, the square, representing what I feel to be the cube that we give all our energy to. The cube that we're inside of. It's the number 45 and rhodium. And the RH tied to the blood types, the 102 in the string of pi, found at the 60 and 61st decimal digit. This will be tied to the Great Pyramid of Giza. But that's for another story. But this is just what I needed. What is just what I needed? What's the I? It's one half of the I am. You see, the game of life is the I am. And it needs you. And that's why I came up with this graphic right here. And it's the element rhodium and the 45. The 45, of course, is when you add up all the numbers on the dial pad. And this is what it looks like right here, folks. The I am is the cube called rhodium. I showed this in my decode of the very first architect of the universe, architected the universe, Decoded. If you haven't seen that, please check it out. But here was the cube inside those rodent circles, inside the torus fields. When you add up the numbers 1 through 9, which is, of course, tied to the magic square of Saturn, you're going to get the number 45 tied to this element called rhodium, which is the rose that gives the bees honey, tied to the Rosicrucians, the secret society back to the 17th century. So it's definitely deeply embedded into the occult right here. And that's why I included it in the beginning of this presentation. And how is it tied to a song that came out in 1978 by the great band The Cars on their debut album, the song Just What I Needed? So what is the I? It's the I am. And what does the I am need? It needs players. And we're going to get into that. And this is going to be fun because this is kind of an extension of the Prison Planet series. And the reason why I had gotten this download in my mind and why I'm decoding this is because just the other day after I released Prison Planet 2, this song out of nowhere came into my mind and just I started singing it and I'm like, why did this song? And that's the cue. And so I encourage all of you, if you have a song that pops into your mind, as I have suggested so many times, out of the blue, that is a sign for you to decode. It's a sign, symbol, what have you. And you should be decoding that. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you and show you how comical this reality is. And this is what I feel we're feeding right here. It's the cube, the square, and the circle inside the square. The circle would be duality. It would be pi inside this square. And we could go on and on and on. And here's the square. Here's the cube and why it's revered in many ancient religions. I feel it's rhodium, and remember that dial pad that we have on our phones, the dial pad we have on our calculators, it does have the 0 there, but of course the 0 doesn't add any value, but it's the 1 through 9. When you add those up, 1 plus 2 plus 3, all the way to 9, you're going to get 45. And that's going to lead to the number 9. And that means it's a repeater number. Anytime you get the number 9, it's a repeater number. So the 45, this square is a repeater over and over and over. And I feel past, present, and future sits inside there. And that is the I am. And then just to the right of that, of course, is the cross. And the cross is unfolded. And when you fold it back up, it's going to make the shape of a cube. That's not a secret. It is very well known in the occult. This is the just what I needed. You're just what I needed. You see, it's the comic of this reality. It's the comedian of this reality telling you that you are just what it needed as a player. And the I is the 9, which is a repeater over and over and over. And this is how comical this reality gets, folks, and how ridiculous it gets. From a simple song that I just had pop into my mind after I released Prison Planet Part 2. Here's the guy just to the right who discovered the 45th element, rhodium, which I feel is the makeup of the box, the cube, the square, the 4 corners of the earth that we live in. William Hyde Wollaston. He discovered rhodium. And here's the comedy of this. You see, he was born August 6th, 1766. The subtleties, there's the 66, but August 6th, when you bring in the cards of illumination, as I showed how important these cards are, you should know what your birth card is. Beyond that, the people you hang around with, has everything to do with who we are. This dude who discovered rhodium, and I'm going to be getting into the tie-in of where this comes into play on just what I needed, is this card right there. William Hyde Wollaston has the 33rd card in the deck, tied to the cross, tied to the story of the Christ being crucified and being put to death at the age of 33, and how I feel being recycled right back in to the box again. And this is the comedy of this reality. Just what I needed? Yeah. Well, the game needs players. And that's exactly what I found typing these words into the numerology cipher. The Chaldean, of course. I feel it's the top dog cipher. But look at what it shows here, folks. Let me narrate this with you because there's a lot of moving parts. The game of life needs players. You're just what I needed. 104. Well, naturally, I'm going to find out where that appears in the string of pi. And there it is. It's tied to the number 480. I showed this in my 33 Decoded, how it's tied to the Christ and the crucifixion. And right at the very bottom, it's tied to this scripture, which is one of the most famous passages in the entire Bible on the world stage. It's John 3, verses 16, telling you to put your faith in that character called the Christ so you have everlasting life. And that everlasting life, to me, is being recycled back into the game. Notice that it's a 480, and 480 in the string of pi, here's the connection. It operates at digit 104, 105, and 106, but it's the 104 that it starts with, and that's a direct match to that title or those string of words, the game of life needs players. Of course it does. That's how you get your everlasting life. You become a player on the world stage, and the game, the I am, it needs you. And that's why this song, Just What I Needed, came into my mind. It told me, and I'm telling all of you, this is exactly how the code works. It's this element called palladium tied to the 104. 46 is tied to our DNA, the set of chromosomes, 23, and 23 is 46. And here is from the original spelling of the Hebrew, the Aramaic in the Old Testament. It's tied to the tree of life. It's of life, which is 46. So it's telling you the game of life is the 46, which is the element palladium in the string of pi, is tied to the 480. The 480 is tied to believing in the Christ to have everlasting life. And the everlasting life means you will be recycled back into the game because the game needs players. Just what I needed. It's a comedy in this, folks, with a stupid song. Not stupid because I love the Cars, but it's just a silly example, but to show you how important it is. So it's based off of these two decodes. If you haven't seen these decodes, please check them out. Prison Planet Decoded Part 1, Prison Planet Decoded Part 2. And this is how I got this download. I released this Prison Planet 2 Decoded on October 13th, the very next day. On October 14th, I was doing some more decoding, and this song, Just What I Needed, randomly out of the clear blue popped into my head, and that's when I started laughing when I found out it was tied to The Game of Life Needs Players. I was laughing so hard, and now I know. It's just like this whole reality is scripted. So let's break down this song. I don't have a lot of slides. I'm not getting into any topics. This is going to be a straight decode. It's going to be a shorter one. But I felt this was a comical, fun decode to get out to all of you. I had shown this on my What's Your Question number 21. But here it is. Here's the rendition of the Just What I Needed is a song by American rock band The Cars from their self-titled debut album. And lo and behold, what does Just What I Needed, the title of the song, equal? Well, the number 59, which is a direct match to The Game of Life. How about that? All right, folks, what are the odds? And did the Cars, the members of the Cars, know they were singing about the game of life? Of course they didn't. But of course, everything has different meanings beyond the meanings. And this song, the comedy in it, is telling you that the I Am needs you in the game of life as a player. That's what it tells you. And it laughs. And here's the more comical aspects of it. This is probably the most funniest one out of them all. If you weren't laughing at that, The Game of Life and Just What I Needed, knowing that the I Am needs you as a player, here's the funniest part of them all. This album, or this single, Just What I Needed, it was released as a single on May 29th, 1978. And of course, the May 29th card in the Cards of Illumination, what card is that? It's the card number 16. It's the 3 clubs card. Card number 16. And of course, what's the number 16 tied to? Well, it's tied to hell. And this is the comedy in it, folks. This is why you just got to have fun with this code. Because it's already scripted. It was already written before we got here. And you ain't changing that. So think about what I'm showing you. Just what I needed. What needs you? The game. This song was released on May 29th. Here's the card tied to the May 29th date, the 3 clubs. 3 clubs is the 16th card. The 16 is linked to this word called hell. So what needs you? Hell does. And you're in it. That's the comedy. You're in hell. So you just got to have fun with it, folks. That's it. So here's even more fun with this Just What I Needed decode. May 29th. It's a very special day. It's the 149th day of the year, but here's the big takeaway for it. It's in the sign of Gemini. May 29th is the zodiac sign Gemini, and as I've been showing in my Prison Planet decodes, is that Gemini, I feel, is the origination of when this game probably resetted, and we all incarnated, not all of us at that point, but maybe the board was wiped clean. Perhaps maybe the flood, if that really happened in the sign of Gemini, and then mankind got, reacclimated to the world stage through repopulating. But Gemini is clearly the prison bars. I got more coming out with that, but how fitting that this song came out in the sign of Gemini, which is the prison bars. Castor and Pollux, the 2 twins, representing Jesus and Thomas, the Kundalini that rises up the spine and all that kind of stuff. So this is the actual part of the chorus. The title of the song is Just What I Needed, but if you go to the song itself, here it is, and this is what he's saying at the very end of it over and over. You're just what I needed. You're just what I needed. You're just what I needed. And you're just what I needed through the numerology is the number 80, and as I've been showing, the number 80, if you watched my decode on Prison Planet, the first one, on the 33 Decoded, you realize that 80's tied to Mercury, Mercury's tied to the 200, 200's tied to the 200 fallen angels, and here is the full breakdown of the Tree of Life in the biblical expression through the Aramaic, the original spelling of the Tree of Life. It's the number 80. The of life is 46, tree is 34. When you add them up, you get the number 80, and it's telling you right there. Well, what does the game need? It needs players down here in the Tree of Life, and you become a fallen angel through the 3 major alchemical expressions, the 3 base metals, mercury, sodium, and sulfur, to get you down here and incarnate, and you're just what I needed. The game is looking for you as players. It's just really funny. So here's the dude that wrote the song, You're Just What I Needed. It was sang by Benjamin Orr, but the bassist, but Rick Ocasek. Here's his full birth name. He's the guy who wrote the song. And this is the comedy. Again, more showing of the script and how it's undeniable that our reality is completely scripted. And this guy was being used to just kind of poke fun at this whole thing. So Rick Ocasek, born March 23rd. March 23rd is the 82nd day of the year. And of course, 82 is found in the string of pi at the 52nd decimal digit, which is tied to the words prison planet. So think about what I'm showing you here. And this guy wrote the song, You're Just What I Needed. Just to give you another rendition, as I showed in my Prison Planet Decoded, Sonny Bono sang the song, I Got You Babe, with his lover Cher. And I showed this slide in the Prison Planet Decode that his name is 82, and how the song title, I Got You Babe, is telling you that the game's got you, and you ain't going anywhere. Not until you die, anyway. So how fitting that he writes this song called I Got You Babe, and this dude writes a song called Just What I Needed. The game needs you, and it's got you, and there ain't anything you can do about it. Not until you leave, anyway, and I don't even know if you can do anything about it at that point. So the album itself, the album now, not the single, but the album came out on June 6th, which of course is a 66, and that's tied to the number 78 and the total amount of tarot cards and dysprosium, which means hard to get, and all that. There's so many different layers that I can go through here, but June 6th is the 157th day of the year. 208 days remain. 200 is linked to the element lead, linked to the element bismuth, all tied to telling us that we're lead and being transmuted into gold. But the big takeaway was this right here, this element, the 64th element, gadolinium, the God element, the 157, the average weight of this element here, tying to June 6th and being 157th day of the year. And that's why I have the double helix here, because this album is telling you that the game needs players, and it's our DNA that it needs to play the game. It's just funny, folks. It's just really, really funny. How about the length of the album by the great band The Cars? 35 minutes and 11 seconds. And when you take 35 and you add the number 11, you're going to get the number 46. And we go right back to the Tree of Life. This is of life, the 46, tied to our chromosomes and our DNA, because we have 23 and 23, 23 in me. We got a pair of that, so it's 46, which is the mirror of the 64, which is how many squares on a chessboard, how many possible codons in our DNA. This is the humor again. So people get up on stage, they start singing about the incarnation and the game owning us. And we're playing tribute to that every time we entertain whatever created us. Because that's what we are. We're entertainment. We're theater. We're living out a soap opera. And this is the pure expression of that. So here's even more. The single again came out on May 29th. May 29th is the 149th day of the year. The 149 is not just any number, it's the frickin' 35th prime number. You go right back up. How long was the album? 35 minutes. You can see the tie-ins, folks, and even if you're a producer in the music world, to go to these great lengths, to sit down and just do this, just to get these numbers right, I don't think you realize what will go into that. Never mind trying to get the album edited, trying to get everybody on the same page to get the album out right. Folks, mankind's being used, period. Period. And the 35, anytime you see that 35, it's tied to this element bromine. Bromine has an average atomic weight of 79, which of course naturally goes right into gold. Gold has 79 protons. More of turning lead into gold, this album, turning lead into gold. More of the code telling you how funny this whole entire process is. here's the two songs on the A and B on the record that came out in 1978. Just What I Needed had a B-side called I'm in Touch with Your World. More comedy, because if you really just press pause and think about what I'm showing you, really, like, what does that mean? I'm in touch with your world. And think about the comedy. Just What I needed you to play the game, and I'm in touch with your world. It's just complete comedy by whatever created this reality. It's a stand-up comedian, and look at what the outcome is. 149, and that's a direct match to the day this single got released, May 29th. This is the 149th day of the year, tied to the album length, which was 35 minutes long. It's just complete comedy, folks. You can see the script playing out before you, showing that mankind is not scripting this reality whatsoever. So to finish up this short decode, let's talk about the producer. Here he is. His name's Roy Thomas Baker. Notice his middle name, Thomas, which is the twin brother of Jesus. It's just funny. I laugh now because it just gets so funny. Notice he was born November 10th, 1946. He's currently 74 years of age. These are big time numbers right here. I didn't even bother decoding his latitude, longitude, Hampstead, Northwest London, but I know that there would be some significance there. But when you look at his birthday, this is why I just crack up now, because of what the code keeps showing me. And it makes me appreciate laughter that much more. November 10th is the 314th day of the year, which is pi itself. And, remember London, if you go study the latitude, longitude, London is 51 degrees north, and there's the 51 right there. And, as I mentioned so many times, if you've been watching this great research, we're stuck in pi. And what is pi? 3.14. What is pi? It's Gemini. Pi, Gemini, they kind of rhyme because we're stuck in Gemini. We are the two twins, Jesus and Thomas, Castor and Pollux. This is pi. We live on the perfect circle. We make up the perfect circle. This is the joke. This is the comedy right here. And it's so funny. And this song, Just What I Needed. Yeah, what did the I Am need? It needed you to play on the perfect circle. And once you come down here and become part of Gemini and being stuck in the prison, you are stuck here until death. So the last slide I have, I think, actually I got another slide after that. But, again, outlining, I put this in here, outlining that pi is Gemini, and this song came out on May 29th, which is in the zodiac sign Gemini. So the guy who produced the album, born on the 314th day of the year, which is Gemini, a relation to that, because Gemini is the third sign, pi is 3. We live in the three-dimensional space. It's just hilarious. And then this song comes out in the zodiac sign of Gemini. Yeah, what are the odds of that? It's just funny. And then last but not least, my last slide, this dude right here, his name through numerology. Oh, it's nothing, just the number 46, going right back to his birth year, 1946, and tied to the tree of life. So what needs you? Life needs you. The tree of life, excuse me. And this guy's telling you, the producer of this album, this is the joke and the comedy in this reality, folks. It's all tied to Prison Planet. So, what did you see? What did you see during this presentation, this short one of my shorter ones? I'm looking over at my counter. It's 23 minutes. I know it's going to be a little longer with the introduction. I don't really do any of the timing. It's all improv, but 23 minutes and counting. Who knows how long it's going to be? But what did you see during this presentation? This was a fun one, just a quick one to get it out there and just make you laugh a little bit and realize, don't take life so seriously. It's a freaking joke. It's a joke. Life is a joke. Look at what's on the album cover of this of the Cars, their debut album. It's a lady laughing, and I feel this is the comedy. Like, just laugh it up. Life's a joke. The game needs players. That's us. Perhaps we can get out and we choose neutrality, but you are the I am, and the I am is you, and it's just what I needed. So ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got for today. My name is Logan. This is Decode Your Reality. I thank each and every one of you for your donations, your Patreons. Those of you that have gotten readings, want readings, just send me an email, decodeyourreality@gmail.com. Until next time, folks, we'll see you later.